You're releasing Lizzie is season 2 or 3?
Batches in season 2.
What book is she on?
The last one.
Oh, she is already.
Yeah. So that one's like a supplementary one where she's just trying to get through it. 'Cause she wants to do some other stuff, so I'm gonna maybe like Lord of the Rings with her or something like that.
Nice. I'll do that too.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm saying like we could just branch apart and just do a bunch of things. That's like be fun.
Have you read the book?
No, never read.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I haven't even watched them in a long time. It feels like I have, and then I was like, wait, it's probably been nearly a decade.
Okay, nice.
So
It's
we were gonna
enough
watch
time.
it the other day, and then I was like, nah, let's wait and do it as a group. It'd be great.
Yeah.
I know. Because he has the extended ones. I've never seen that.
They're so good.
I've never seen
They're
it.
awesome.
You've never seen Lord of the Rings?
Or Star Wars, no.
Whoa.
I know. No,
Do you want to?
If a group of people were, sure. I'm just not going to choose that on my own.
It's got to be a social thing.
Exactly.
Okay.
Certain movies I'll do socially, but on my own now.
I do a lot of movies on my own.
I'm trying to think.
I was thinking about going to see Inside Out 2
I
on
wanted
my
to
own
see that.
today.
I wanted to see it.
Nice.
I contemplated that too, but I'm like, I think it's leaving theaters soon, so I don't even know if I can. But
Didn't
I want
it
to see
just
that.
get into theaters?
I think so. It got
Apparently,
great
but people
reviews
were
too.
Oh
saying
yeah,
it's like-
people were
About it.
loving it.
I know.
Yeah,
I loved
I
the
did
first
hear
one,
that.
so I want to see it.
Yeah.
I was hoping it would still be at the drive-in at some point. We could go up there.
Oh,
that's
yeah, it's a good idea.
Those are
Yeah.
easier to watch in a drive.
Now that you say that, I want to
Yeah.
see if they're actually playing this weekend. Inside Out.
Okay, that's on.
Oh, all right. Soak it all up. House
What is still
rules, I
playing
guess.
this weekend?
Yeah, she can get whatever she wants.
She's like, what? I feel like she's looking at me like, ha 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 ha.
Look at me.
See?
All right, we're good. What did is it playing?
It is this weekend. Filmed by me. The Cinemark is pretty good.
Oh, you're talking
Saturday.
about the drive-in, or you're talking about regular?
No,
No,
this
it's
is by
regular
me.
theaters.
Cinemark
Oh.
is by like the Willowbrook Mall. But it's still playing, so that's good. So I actually can see it this weekend.
Hey, if you want to see it, I'll go see it.
All right. Cool.
I feel like I'd want to watch the first one again. I think I only saw it one
Yeah.
time in
Wait,
theaters.
did
Really?
Did we
Yeah.
watch it?
Oh, it's so
Do we do it with book club?
Was that a
At
book
book
club
club?
movie?
good.
'Cause I didn't see it with book club, but
No.
Because then I don't think I've ever seen that.
I love it, but I don't think
Whoa.
we'll watch it at book club. You've never seen it?
No, because I feel like we talked about it so much. I don't think I saw it.
Yammer.
Oh, you haven't seen it? Oh, it's good. It's cute.
It's definitely top 3 Pixar for me. It's good.
whoa, what are the
Yeah.
other two?
I think
Soul?
Monsters Inc.
Oh, yeah, it's a classic.
Classic.
Yes.
And maybe
So
The
good.
Incredibles or Toy Story.
Ah.
One of those two.
Incredibles is also really good.
I think Up is overrated, and I think what's the other one? Wall-E is overrated.
Wow,
Yeah.
nice.
Oh, but Wally's so cute.
I think it's cute in the beginning, but I think what is like the end of the movie about?
I don't remember.
I was
So
gonna say, I
true.
feel like it is
Yeah,
kinda
I was
like
gonna say
blah.
Up
Yeah.
is great because the first 5 minutes are great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then you
And-
forget everything else after
Yep.
that.
Yeah.
True.
Incredibles, Monster Inc. Those are definitely top.
Yeah, those are
For
great.
sure.
Oh, Monsters Inc. Yeah.
That's like a classic. That's like my
Yeah.
childhood. Monsters Inc.
Did I see Monsters Inc. with you in theaters?
I feel like we did.
I think it was
But
me, you, and Freddie.
I just
and we
can't
saw it in
remember. Is
theaters.
that what we did? I'm
I
like,
think so.
it feels like it's such a vague memory.
Yeah.
But I just can't remember anything about it.
I know. Oh, it was so good though. Such a great movie.
And then I feel like Monsters University was coming out when we were in college or
Yeah,
about to
that's
go to
true, yeah.
college, like right around that time. I just remember thinking it felt so relevant. I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah. It was so good.
I really like cartoon movies now. But I
Great.
feel like it's because of book club. Because I
Yes.
wouldn't have watched them, and then I'm like, oh wait, I forgot. Like they have like a double message kind of
Yeah.
sometimes for
Some
the
of 'em are
kids.
so
and
good.
Mm-hmm.
So I started watching more. Did you ever see Smallfoot?
No, but I've heard that's great.
That
I've
was
heard
a
it's
cute
so
one.
good.
I'm sorry.
Is it your new favorite movie now?
It is. I loved it. It was so
I didn't
cute.
realize you liked it that much. That's funny. I thought it was cute.
I like. Maybe it was just the like mood I was in, but I
Yeah,
was,
and because we went in with no expectations,
Yeah.
so then it was like, oh, this is like I thought it was gonna be cheesy, and it was, but in like a good way, like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
self-aware kind of way. So it's the kind of movie
They
you
had
can
a
show
few
your
really
nieces
good
or nephews, but
lines.
enjoy it.
And then I love
Yeah.
the rap. I thought the rap was really cool.
Yeah, I love those double meaning movies where like you're watching it with your nieces and nephews, and they love it too for different reasons. And
Mhm.
you're
Yeah.
watching it, and you love it for different reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm starting
are my
to
faves.
realize that. But yeah. But I'm easy to please, so
Mm.
I guess just don't go by me.
I just always recommend this one because it's one of my favorites. If you liked that one, you'll like Kubo and the Two Strings.
Kubo?
It's a weird one. Kubo and the Two Strings.
What is that?
How do you even
Pixar?
spell that?
No, it's Leica. It's a really like small
Write this down,
studio.
please.
It's KUBO,
Oh, okay.
and it's like claymation. The claymation is unbelievable. So
Oh.
good.
What?
I did
Animation?
not like Kubo that
Really?
much. Yeah.
I also don't like-
I don't
feel
remember
you're
why.
looking
I
at
really don't
me.
remember why, but I remember
He's
leaving it and
like-
being like, meh.
Really?
You know what?
I love.
Oh, I don't
that.
want to
It's so
spoil
good.
anything, but I think there
Is
was
it depressing?
no, it wasn't like that.
Oh,
And
yeah,
but
actually,
honestly
that's
though, the claymation was so awesome. I
Yeah.
think there were times I was legitimately distracted from the story by just the claymation because it was so good.
Sometimes
thought
I
it was
can't
good
do
comedy.
claymation.
I'm
though.
gonna add it
Something
to our
about
list
it's like,
because it's
mm.
definitely a movie you have to watch. Like it's
What's
solid.
like the storyline? Hold on, what's the
How many
storyline?
is it like me watching
It's a
versus
weird
you
storyline.
watching?
I think it's a good
Vengeful spirit
balance.
From the past.
I feel like a lot of them are me.
A secret legacy.
Wait, what is the
Pretty
look like?
Woman, Mrs. Doubtfire. Those are two that I have to watch
Ooh.
that were yours.
Yeah,
He
those are
has
great.
a long list, and it's like 20.
No, it's not that long.
A long list of what?
A long list of movies you need to watch, but it's because I've not seen them, and then two of them.
No, it's like
are the ones
15.
hidden.
Groundhog
ones have
Day,
you not
Star
seen?
Wars, Lord of the Rings, What About Bob, The Phantom, Johnny English, The Man Who Knew Too Little, Sahara, Treasure Planet, Prince of Egypt, Mrs.
Ooh.
Doubtfire,
Prince
Pretty
of Egypt,
Woman,
that's, oh,
Chitty Chitty
gosh,
Bang Bang,
childhood.
Seven Brides for Seven
Yeah.
Brothers, Kubo and the
Oh,
Two
Brides for
Strings.
Seven
Oh,
Brothers.
let's
That's
go.
also a classic. Wow.
So that's like
I've
a pretty
not
reasonable
seen
list.
that.
And
yeah, but let me get my classics for you.
yeah, any classics, I'm ready.
I can't think.
Yeah, but
But
I'll add them
think
to the
of
list.
them. We have not even touched the
I was gonna
list.
say, when are you guys
Yeah,
gonna
the
actually get
thing
through
is,
the
we just
list?
watch
We
like
just
dumb
add
new
it
movies
to
that
the
come out on
list,
Netflix.
and
I'm
it
like,
just
oh
exists.
goodness.
Is this
Sit down and
over
watch a
there?
movie, You're like, we both seen this. Let's just watch it again. It's a comfort movie.
yeah.
Big Fat
I know,
Liar,
comfort
new to
movies.
Netflix.
Yeah.
We
Yeah, it
watched
was
that.
solid.
Did you watch? You've seen that?
Big Fat Liar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like on
Oh,
repeat
fine.
as a child.
Yeah. And that I always confuse that one and Liar Liar. What is Big Fat Liar?
That's
Frankie Muniz
that's
and,
And Paul
Amanda
Giamatti.
Bynes.
I don't know if
Yeah.
I've seen this.
I don't know his. I
Oh,
know that's
yeah.
the main character,
Yeah.
but
That one, I feel like that was always on as a kid.
Oh, it's Amanda Bynes.
yep.
I don't think
Yeah.
I've seen
You've
it.
never seen Big Fat Liar?
I don't think so.
Maybe you were like. No,
What?
because, no, I was just gonna. No, I was
Too
gonna say-
young.
Yeah,
I'm a baby.
It was before your time.
That's what I was thinking, but then I was like,
It's
no,
2002.
Eddie and Lauren and I all watched it together. But maybe I don't know.
Maybe.
Wait, is your sister younger?
Yeah.
Okay, so
So-
she might not have been watching.
Yeah.
Well, I just remember seeing all the commercials for it because it was all over whatever channels I was watching. They were blasting Big Fat Liar commercials.
I feel like
that's
Amanda
kinda
Bynes is in every commercial for
Mhm.
like a teen movie in the
Yeah.
late 90s.
She's not even really in it. I thought she had more presence in it, and then we rewatched it. I was like, oh, it's not how I remember.
But it's weird because she's on the
Hmm.
cover, so it makes it think like she's the main.
Like she's in it, but she's not like she's not talking. Like she's just like a supporting actress, but like
Oh.
very
minimally.
right. Wouldn't you say? That?
I guess, yeah.
Amanda Bynes was She's the Man too, right?
Oh
Oh yeah, that's the best
so
movie.
good.
That's
Classic.
so
And
good.
now
Oh my gosh.
she's, where is Amanda Bynes?
I know it's a great
She's
question.
it's rough.
She
She's not looking
needs
too good.
help.
Her mental health is not great.
Oh boy.
She has like face tattoos.
Ooh.
What?
Yeah, have you not seen recent pictures of her?
No.
Let's look it up.
I think she's doing. I saw some video. She's doing something
doesn't even
with
look like
salons
herself.
or
It's like bad.
Doing-
Whoa.
Yeah,
doing
wait, I wanna
manicures or
see.
something.
She's got a heart
What do you
on
mean
her
she's
cheek.
doing?
Like she's
manicures?
as a
Like-
business, she's like doing something else like
As
along those
Amanda
lines.
She does
Yes.
not look like Amanda Bynes.
What?
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like time has
She
not
looks
done
like
her well,
Miley Cyrus.
but way worse.
I think Miley Cyrus has done well for herself now.
I would say Miley Cyrus looks good
I used to
now.
hate
She looks
her,
healthy. Yeah.
And I think she's great now. I
Yeah.
think she's cool.
I think she's made a turnaround. She had her
Yeah.
phase, and now she's like better. But Amanda Bynes, man, oof.
What
And she has some mental health issues. Yeah, I think just being in that industry was not
Yeah.
for her.
Yeah.
And, well, the pressure from being a kid. Can you even grow up normal with like that kind of fame?
Yeah, I know.
Not
I don't
really.
know if you really can.
And then
Macaulay
even if-
Culkin,
You'd have to have
all
like
Right,
a really
right.
good family to ground you, and like a lot of these people.
It's like she did it
That's-
herself.
Probably she's probably like
Yeah.
drunk or high or something and got it done.
It's sad.
I know it is sad because she was like so good in those movies, and now it's just like
Yeah.
oof.
Well, She's the Man. That's a great
Oh
one.
my gosh.
I know
Hmm.
it's like amazing.
Maybe she'll come back. Lindsay Lohan, Macaulay Culkin. They're both.
Yeah, Lindsay Lohan made a turnaround.
They've
Yeah.
turned around.
You're right.
Yeah.
There's
Because
still
it's
hope,
tough. Like
potentially.
figuring out life is hard enough as it is, let alone the
Yeah.
eyes of the world and the pressure, and
That's
not
Or
having a
she
normal
can go
childhood.
Britney Spears way.
Yeah.
She's
Britney
still.
Spears.
I feel for her. I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't
She's
know,
another
but-
one. Britney Spears, Amanda Bynes, the mental health. It's
Yeah.
bad. It's not great.
They gotta have some different laws for child actors that can like keep them safe in some way.
Mm.
Do something.
But it's hard because it's like the family is such a big
Yeah.
role too. It's just like
This is okay. I'll rant about Bluey for a quick second.
Yeah,
But
Bluey.
This is why I love Bluey even more than any other, because they keep the kids' identity completely secret. No one knows who the voice of Bluey and Bingo are.
really.
So
they-
great.
Oh.
They I think they just have the kids come in and they do like all their lines for like a specific episode or something like that. But no one, I think, except like the parents and a few like small circle of people
Like,
know who it
yeah.
actually is. So the
Hmm.
kids
So
know who
great.
it is, and they're probably walking on the street like, oh, you know.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
so cool.
I'm sure like their
That's so
teachers are
nice.
like, that voice sounds awfully
Yeah,
familiar."
right.
Yeah.
You're right.
But
Aw.
no one knows who
Wow.
it is, so I love that. I think that's such a great
Wow.
idea.
And even if a small community knows in their
Yeah.
school or something, it's secret enough that you can't Google them. You
Agreed,
know,
yeah.
that's great.
Yeah. And they're not
Protects
like
them.
walking around with a big head, or they're not walking
Yeah.
around, like everyone's not coming up to them on the streets. You know.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
think that's great to do that. Do it that way.
I want to watch more episodes of it.
Of Bluey.
Yeah, because
Great
a
show.
clip came up that I saw. I've never seen it.
Really?
Really?
I forgot. Were
whole
you
podcast
gone
about
during
it?
that book club thing?
Yes,
Oh
I was.
man,
Yeah.
wow.
I think I was.
We
in
watch like
Lake
random
George.
episodes,
Yeah.
but I've never seen it
I
fully
think
through.
I was
No.
in Lake George.
What is
when
it
they
on?
were-
Hmm.
Is it any on streaming? Or no?
No, it's on Disney Plus.
Oh, I
Disney
don't have
bought 'em
Disney
out.
Plus.
Put it on the list.
All
Legit.
right, I'll add it to the list.
Just watch these 2 episodes now. They came out with 2 more, and one is Cricket, and it legitimately made me cry. I watched
Aw.
it. The first time it came out, everyone was giving it rave reviews, and I was like, I love it. I'm like, I don't know if I'll cry or not, but I'll definitely love it. So I watched it, and the first time I watched it, I was like bawling. I was in my office, and it was like a 7-minute long episode. I was bawling.
Oh,
And then I came back home and I was like just thinking about it, and I watched it again. And I was like, "There's no way I'm gonna cry again from it." And every single time I watch it, at the end, I just started
That is
bawling.
so great.
And then everyone says they made like a 30-minute long
That's cute.
episode, and everyone says that is like the best episode that they ever made. It's like everyone weeps during that episode.
the
It's so
30-minute
cute.
one or the
Yeah,
one
the
that you?
30-minute one.
Okay.
And everyone weeps during the one that I
Okay.
wept at too, but for different reasons.
Do they have to be watched in order?
No.
So you can't just pick one up and
Completely
go.
random. You can pick whatever episode that you want.
Hmm.
I mean, it's like you can watch somewhat in order. There's like not really like a storyline. But yeah, you can watch it anytime.
Nice.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's great. All right, Harry Potter.
Harry
guess.
Potter. Speaking of good
Yeah.
stories and
Yes,
child
we
actors.
must.
Exactly.
And
Speaking of
movies, it was
performances.
all relative.
Exactly. What did you guys think of this movie? Just right off the gun, off the bat.
Thumbs up. And another thumb pretty up too.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
I
good.
liked it.
Yeah, I think so.
Uh,
No, I'm trying to like think.
I know. I
Yeah.
need to remember the movie now too. I'm
Yeah.
like, what happened?
I feel
again?
like it already branched off from the books to me somewhere in the 5th movie. I don't even know where it happened, partially because of when we you know what? When we paused the movies to then just read the rest, I feel like the movies became something different.
Mm.
And that's why it was easier to watch this and not be as critical, because it already felt the characters don't even feel like the same characters from the book. They feel like roughly parallel stories. So I wasn't offended by some of the differences.
Mm.
Like I think I would have been if we watched them back to back, like reading right into movie.
Yeah, there's enough distance between these two that you're not, all the details in your head aren't like perfectly lined up with So it definitely feels like a completely different, work of art or whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
So you're like being hypercritical. I'm not like crazy hypercritical of these movies anymore, because I just kind of like them as they are, even though I think they have like huge flaws in them and they don't follow the books.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I still like them. They're
Mhm.
so great.
Yeah, I think I enjoyed it. I thought it was what we said that again, right? That was like the closest out of all the series.
Oh, did we say that? Because
I
in
think
my mind, I'm
we
already
did.
feeling like
But
I think the
didn't
first
think
movie
that.
we did, the first of 7. I
Yeah,
don't know if this one was.
I think part 1 felt really close. Part 2,
Yeah.
I think you guys said it felt close, but there were some parts that missed, and it was.
well, yeah, the
yeah.
Snape stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No,
What
you're
were you
good.
gonna say? Yeah, because they already like gave away certain things.
Yeah.
Yep.
That it wasn't a surprise, which
Yeah.
is so ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm so curious what
Like-
that would be like just watching it directly, how it would feel, the hints you get, and then in
But you feel
between
like
movies,
people need that if they don't read the book.
Well,
maybe.
I think it would be more suspenseful, but then they don't even build up his character, so you can't really
Yeah.
Mm.
have that be a surprise because it's like there's nothing to back up or not enough time to back it up. The character development or whatever. It's not like they did a great job either, though. His background was like really short with like Lily.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. And that was weird too because I felt like they didn't connect him and Lily as much because there wasn't that breakup moment almost, and that it felt like the flashback
Yeah.
was just didn't do it justice for me. In a few different ways that I couldn't even put my finger on, but that was one of them where I felt like there needed to be that moment of like almost bitterness because again it puts you in suspense. Well, then how does Snape feel about her now? And then like that's why always means more because it's like, oh, even after rejection, even after whatever. So I don't know. I go back and forth. But that's part of why I need to view the movies as separate because I want to be able to enjoy both. The same reason I'd want to be able to enjoy the play. If there's a moment in it that's not canonical, was that the play or was that the next book, Fantastic Beasts, where it's something you're like, that's not quite right. Well, I still want to be able to enjoy it. So going in with open mind, saying, it's great. But
Yeah, you have a more open mind than me.
so I feel like in general, I was like, yeah, it's pretty good.
I'm trying to like picture it as like a standalone thing. Like if you didn't read the books, you probably don't need that much information. So these little tidbits of like Lily, and he knew Lily from childhood. Okay, boom, check that out. Like I don't know. I don't
Right.
think, and maybe that's why they exposed the Snape being on the good side earlier. Like you don't need to go that deep into character history, for it. I don't know. Like they could have done it. I don't know. Like what would it look like if they didn't expose it?
Wait, what do you mean? Like which things not
Sorry,
exposed?
Snape. And I know it was in the first one, right, when he kills him.
Yeah, part 1.
Part 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then part 2, he's then like the headmaster and playing that part of like still he killed Dumbledore and no one likes him. And
yeah, that was one of my biggest qualms of this movie, but I don't hate it so much coming from like a books only perspective because I really love Alan Rickman and his portrayal of it, and Snape in the books you just loathe so much in this, especially in the last one. But this, like you guys were saying before, part 2 gives way more clues as to like who he actually is. Like even the beginning of this, the first scene in this movie. Actually, let's really quickly. Welcome to the podcast. I'm John.
Jen.
Danny.
And Kaylee.
And this is Harry Potter and the First Time Readers. Anyway, jumping right back in. The first scene of this movie is the rehash of the end of the first part, where where Voldemort is rolling along the water and gets the Elder Stick or the Elder Wand and then shoots up into the air, and like that's how this movie begins.
Yeah.
But the next scene, do you guys remember what the next scene is? It's with Snape.
Yeah, I was gonna say it goes right to Snape's face.
Yeah, it's right to his face,
but
and he's
what
looking
is he...
over across the students who are marching into Hogwarts,
yeah,
they're marching like military march almost. So he's like batting down the hatches on the school apparently, but his face looks like really despairing and
Yeah.
really sad, and like he's remorseful and regretful over something. Like Alan Rickman puts a lot of emotion in his face.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing they do, I mean, like you have to know themes in this, but they play Lily's theme, which is like the musical version of what Lily's theme is. You don't really know it at the time, but like it's really sad music. It's like really regretful and mournful music. So I'm like, even at that point right there in this movie, you know there's something more significant with Snape, as opposed to the books where you kind of just hate his guts and you're hoping for the time, like you guys cheering when he's dead, and you're like, good riddance, this is great. It's left way more in suspense, I think, in the books than in the movies. In the movies, you're like waiting for his redemption. In the books, you think he's like kind of irredeemable. So I think there's a huge difference in that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like the way she did it better.
Yeah, I do too. But I don't hate how Alan Rickman portrayed it.
I love him as Snape.
Yeah.
I think he did a great job.
Agreed.
I just think, like, what, I don't know.
Yeah.
What would it, maybe it been too long. Maybe they would have had to add like a middle.
And that's why I like certain adaptations like this, because it does, like the Dumbledore adaptation I think is terrible. I don't think that's a good adaptation.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he's at all what he is in the books. Snape's adaptation I think is a lot different from the books, but in like a positive way, where like Alan Rickman is putting his kind of slant on it. Like he knows the character really well, and he's putting like an extra slant on it, making him a bit more compassionate than maybe he is in the books. And I think that is really fun, because like if you watch this with other people who haven't read the books, you can then be like, oh, you know, he's great in here in the movies, but he's also this, and this in the books, and he's like mean and nasty, and like you know, really, it's like the suspense is held. Whereas Dumbledore, I'm like, he's nothing like this. He never yells like this. He's not like aloof. He's like, you know, very keyed in. He knows what he's doing. He's very in focus. It's just a completely different character change. So I like certain adaptations and I don't like other parts of the adaptations. So I'm kind of split on that.
I thought he did a good job in The Dream, though. Dumbledore.
Dumbledore did a good job in The Bad Dream, yeah.
And when Harry is in between or whatever, when he...
Yeah, in King's Cross.
Yeah, it could have been better. Agreed. But I'm just saying he did.
No, but it was pretty good, though.
I feel like he was like true to character.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm with you on that. Like as far as how his character was portrayed.
Yes.
But the lines, they didn't give him any of the important lines.
I'm not saying
So
that scene was
But you're right.
great,
He
but
had
I
like the
think
vibe there.
that was like he actually acted like, oh, if you just were like this for all of the
It would have been
movies,
way better. Yeah.
it would have been more Dumbledore in the books.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. That's actually a really good point, because I've been we've all kind of been hypercritical of him, but that is a scene where he does kind of act him really well, where he's like compassionate and like very straightforward.
I feel like he's a little whimsical too in
Yeah.
The Dream, and like that is Dumbledore, and like I just find it strange that he only could pull that when he's in a dream.
Yeah. Agreed.
And even like to that last line of like whether or not it's in Harry's mind, that's that kind of whimsical, and pulling the lines right from the book really helps. Even though they skipped other lines that would have been nice.
I'm like, it's right there. Just read it.
Yep.
You don't have to recreate it.
I did think it was nice. Well, knowing what was happening with Snape, I think made it better when he died in a sense, because then there's more emotion there, because then there's something to lose. It's not something to celebrate. And I feel like as a movie watcher, if you didn't know the story, you would still get some of that mourning almost, where you almost don't know why you're sad, but I imagine you would feel mixed feelings at the most there, because you know there's more to the story.
Yeah.
In the books, you're still totally lost to that, and that's why it's weird. But I think that's why it was maybe a good call for, well, theatrical reasons at least. And getting to watch it after reading, I thought was pretty fun.
Yeah, for sure. And even to your point too, Jen, the last scene, Dumbledore acts really great, but the lines are, you don't need half the lines in there, because the previous movies just didn't build any of his story up. So in the King's Cross,
Oh,
the
so
majority
true.
of what they talk about is Dumbledore's family, and Harry's so confused with like what happened with his family, why he didn't tell him anything, and they're going through all of that information, and then they talk about a little bit of, like the Voldemort download, but the majority of it is Dumbledore's past, and the movies just don't have any of that really, so they don't really care about that, so they don't need that.
I say, did the movies even talk about his sister or anything really?
There's one mention of his sisters.
I remember.
Do you guys remember?
No. What is the reference?
Is that Ariana in the picture in
Yep.
In Aberforth's place.
And Aberforth has one line where he goes,
And
he
like-
gave her everything except time.
Yeah, but like
So that's
Is
it?
it really true? Like as a
he didn't
line,
give her time.
he didn't
either.
give her time, but he didn't give her everything except for time.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't-
What does that line
I thought he
mean?
Yeah, I
didn't
don't
care.
like
I thought
that.
that was why he was
He
upset.
gave her everything but time.
Like I like that Aberforth is
Hmm.
actually a great actor. I think he does it really, really well in like a lot of his lines. But that's a line that I'm like scratching my head over, because they had like huge disagreements. I kind of wanted to see the disagreement, like the enmity between the two a little bit more. But that's really the only mention we have of Ariana Dumbledore in the entire
Which
thing.
is crazy.
Wow.
I thought
Yeah, that's
he said
wild.
that he gave, or that is he saying that he himself gave everything
No,
but time?
he's saying this of Dumbledore.
Are you sure?
Of Albus, yeah, sorry. Yeah,
Because I think
positive.
he's explaining to the kids, why there's tension there. I don't remember how the line came up,
Yeah.
but it feels like he's kind of addressing them a little to explain, or like, I don't know, it feels like he's trying to explain Dumbledore a little more to them, like something like they didn't understand Dumbledore, or like he's kind of making fun of them a little. I forget how it came up. Like, oh, you guys believe all of his stuff, right? Because
I
in that
guess it
moment you kind of
makes-
are like, oh, this is like weird. These brothers don't get along.
It makes him look better. Dumbledore look better,
Yeah.
more caring, which they didn't even.
Oh, that's interesting.
Actually
Yeah.
make him look that caring, so maybe
Yeah,
that's
that's
why.
Yeah.
true.
Because if you say
Huh.
that and you don't know the background story, it looks as
Yeah,
though
you're
he
right.
cared a lot for her, but just didn't give her time.
Gave her everything but time. Yeah, you're right. That line does sound a little bit more like giving
So
her
then
everything.
it's like contradicting a little bit of the
Yeah.
stories and rumors that they were reading.
Yeah, that is true. That's a good point.
But I don't know.
Do people who haven't read the book even think of that line? I feel like that's just
Yeah.
such a random,
I didn't even think of
pointless
that
line.
line.
And
Yeah,
that's a great
right.
point. Because
It just feels
when
pointless.
you're rewatching the movies, like there's none of the Dumbledore background, so like you're not
Yeah.
even really thinking about that when you're watching
That's
it.
probably
It's just
why,
much
yeah.
more action, which is like how maybe a movie should go. It's like more of an action movie. But I think when you're if you just watch the movies, you see that line, you're like, oh, there's like some story behind that, but you don't. That's
Just
what
don't
you
even
think.
I
care.
also
Yeah.
wonder what is the audience that they were trying to capture,
Yeah.
like for the show, for the movie, because then your attention span would be short, wouldn't it? Like the younger you
Yeah.
are, it's shorter, and maybe a little bit more as you mature. But then maybe that's where it's like they cut out this like history,
Yeah.
because who wants history? You want action.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure.
Usually would
Yeah.
be me.
Yeah, it's such a good point.
Yeah. Maybe not a bad call.
Yeah.
But yeah,
'Cause
I
this-
don't know.
this
These are all
movie-
things we all know, but
I mean, this movie is pretty much just one big action movie from start to finish.
Yeah.
it's
Oh.
not like it is action, but it's like
Yeah.
nah.
Yeah.
It feels like the action parts were like too
Dramatic. Some of them are traumatic too.
too dramatic, and like they didn't sprinkle it throughout. I don't know. Just
Yeah.
maybe I'm
I'm kind of with you.
wrong. It was just like they.
I'm curious, like, what an
Yeah.
example would be, because I'm
I
thinking of
know.
Harry and Voldemort fighting. That felt
Too much.
dramatic in a way that contrasted the books
Yeah.
quite a bit, where I thought the book drama was great, but I feel like in the scheme of all books to movies, that must be a perfect example of like what worked so well in the book makes
Yeah.
sense that it would work in a book, and what works in a movie, and it makes sense why it would work in a movie. And I don't think either audience would do as well with the opposite.
I just feel like he didn't explain it as he was fighting. Like, why wasn't he explaining things of the history of like why the wand wasn't gonna work for him?
Yeah.
I feel like it was a quick like a quick blurb, but it wasn't. They had a long time fighting, which
Mm-hmm.
didn't happen in the book, which I get. But then maybe have a more dialogue. I don't know, more dialogue of like, you think that you killed Snape, and he. I don't even remember that well. Like maybe I'm talking in circles.
You're saying in the movie the dialogue wasn't important?
No, I'm talking about the fight.
Yeah, because it was just a physical battle.
That
So
went on
Harry
forever.
explaining wasn't really a thing.
But
Yeah.
he could have done both, is what I'm
Yeah.
trying to get at.
I don't even remember if he did. I was too distracted with all the flying around and wand twirling.
The dialogue that they did have was
Short.
it was short, and it just wasn't really like exactly what the book was talking about. So that's one of those scenes. Like, there are certain parts of this movie that I love, and I think they like actually did fairly well. I love like the break into Gringotts. I think that whole sequence was done pretty well.
Mm.
But
I forgot,
the
yeah,
duel
that was
between
It's always good.
yeah, the duel between both of them, I just think they missed because it's so different in the books, and the books has such a significant like apex that's completely different from the movies. Like I talked to you guys
You're
about
right.
this before, but the apex in the books comes when Harry in the forest again, when Harry's walking to the forest. And then at King's Cross you have all this information, and then the last chapter is just like Harry explaining to Voldemort like how he's already lost. And like you would kind of already know this too.
You already know, yeah.
So like you're right along there with Harry. When Harry comes back in the movies, that's like the culmination of the action, and like you don't know if he's gonna win or lose yet. He's still fighting this guy.
Right,
You
right.
kind of think, you kind of know that he's gonna win, but it's like he comes back and they still have this grand duel, and they're like fighting, and like it's like life or death, and then finally he gets his wand, then he like ebbs away in like ashes, and like he has these lines where like Harry says, "Come on, Tom, let's like finish this how we started together." And he doesn't really explain even like how the wand doesn't really serve him. I think there were just differences that I couldn't get around, because in the books it's like he comes back, Harry explains half this stuff to him, and he's like, Voldemort can't even like harm anybody. Like none of his curses are working on anybody else because Harry's cast the blood protection over him, and that's nothing. You get none of that in the movies, which is like, I think it's such a significant point in the end of the book when Harry
Like
even
it's
has
part of
sacrificed
his
himself.
character, yeah.
Yep.
But how would they even do that? What would that look
I
like?
don't know.
Because
I mean, I'm
it
sure
just
they
might not have
kinda-
worked in movie form.
Yeah.
Like, would the movies or even the books at this
You
point
gotta
be as popular
explain
if they
it.
tried doing that?
Yeah.
Or would it be like, that felt weird. It was like fell flat. Like, because too many of the other movies set up, again, certain ideas of theming of action and visuals. And so I think there's an expectation
They
after
could
so
have
many
done it, though. I'm
movies.
picturing it in my mind right now as you're talking.
Yeah, and you're like, yeah, it would have looked great. I think
It could have been like
Like
a
HBO
clear
High-Res.
like bubble that like went over them.
Yeah.
Like a
Like
flood,
a- oh, okay,
like
yeah,
an
yeah.
ocean flood over them, but then it like kind of disappears, and then Voldemort has a Death Eater like, oh, do this, do that, and they go to do a spell and it doesn't work.
Yeah. They definitely
and
could've
like
done it
showing
somewhat.
that it's not working. Yeah, I think it like
And then
that
he
kind of stuff
looks
would have
at
shown it
Harry,
for sure.
And Harry's like, what?
Yeah, right?
I sacrificed myself. I love them.
HBO higher.
Yeah, there
Oh,
it is.
my
What?
Got a vision.
Oh, I just think
Yeah.
that it
That
felt like it
works.
was more Harry's brute strength that won in the movies
Yeah.
compared to the books, that it was much more sacrificial.
But
Yeah.
they showed a great scene with like Lily sacrificing
Yeah.
herself, and then
Hmm.
Snape running, which was also a little weird. Snape
Yeah.
running in to like hold
cradling
her,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
and they could have.
Honestly, I don't mind that either.
Yep.
I
was like,
I,
yes.
that's an always.
Yeah, big time.
I didn't mind that. I'm just saying that they could have then I don't know, some kind of segue
Yeah.
into like sacrifice for love, and then it ends with Harry sacrificing.
Yeah, they
he
could've.
loves everyone.
In the
wants to
books,
save
like those 3 chapters are the most important. So it's the Prince's Tale, and then it goes into the forest again, and then it goes into King's Cross. And everyone loves those 3 chapters. It's like the everyone's favorite. And when we were watching the movies, I was asking all the people, I was like, rate these scenes for how they portray to the books. And most people really, really love the Princess Tale. That was getting like 7s and 8s. It's pretty accurate to the books for like as far as what Snape's memory has. They forget a few things. They forget some of Petunia's discussions with them, which is like not essential, but it would have been nice to have a little bit of Petunia's backstory. That would have been kind of cool. And then there was just like what you were saying before, Danny. There's not enough connection between Snape and between Lily to where like you don't know what Snape's worst memory was, and calling her like the M word. That's like left out of it. So that's a significant part. That's when he lost Lily. So like some of the parts are left out, which are tough to like forego. But as a memory as a whole, you kind of really get the feeling that Snape loved Lily, like almost more so than you get it in the books, because in the books it's some like weird version of what I don't know Snape thinks is love, and in the movies it's more like he runs in, cradles her, is like devastated at her death, and it's like it's like decently done in the movies. And then the next one is the Forest again, and some people, this one's a little bit more of a mixed bag. Some people really love this one, some people hate this one. I actually think it's a pretty good portrayal, mainly because Lily's character says always, so it gives more light to what the always word means. Like I think that's a great line when Harry's going and he's like, "You'll stay with me," and then he goes till the very end, and Lily sits there and goes, "Always," or something like that. And it's just great. Like I think that's a really well done scene. And then I just think King's Cross kind of misses it for certain parts. Like there was Dumbledore's acting was great in that. But for the rest of the dialogue, it was sins of the previous movies that kind of messed up. Yeah.
You're right. I think that does make sense about Lily saying always. I think I didn't like it when I was watching. I was like, what? That's Snape's thing. What's this? What? It felt like almost cheating Snape.
You said that.
But in my reflection on the movie since then, I was like, I can appreciate it for what it was. Because I feel like Lily, especially in the movies, was not that much of a character. So it's nice to give her a little bit more. I pictured the forest scene a little bigger. It somehow in the movies felt smaller to me. Where like not all of his Death Eaters saw or something. I was like, wait, how many of them are there? And isn't this a whole army? I thought it was maybe a little more of like a clearing in the forest. But then in the movies, it just felt a little bit small for some reason. In maybe just physical, like the set itself just didn't feel that big. Or maybe it was just the emotional weight of it. I'm not sure. Is Lucy stealing Wes's food?
I don't know if there's any food over there.
Oh, then what's
There's something in the bowl.
Really?
Yeah.
You're just worried about her over there, huh?
If there's...
She was eating his food.
Oh, no, she can.
She's fat.
That's, what is that? Chicken and quinoa. She can eat that.
Nice. She heard you. She's going right back.
I know. She's been
why. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's not yours.
Yeah, she can have that. It's fine. I forgot what we were saying.
Sorry.
How much time did you spend pondering the movie, Danny?
Tons.
After the fact?
No, the movie itself, maybe only a little bit, but the story as a whole, because you know what? We'll do a conclusion podcast. But I, maybe as a coping mechanism, and just hoping that the rumor is she wrote the final chapter or parts of the final book before or as she was writing the first book. I'm just thinking and hoping that we haven't even seen it yet. And the final part of this story that she wrote is actually something beyond what we have already consumed. Because let's just imagine you're thinking 7 books ahead. Why not make it 10 books ahead? And there's a trilogy we haven't even seen. And she was always planning on
Star Wars. He thinks everyone's going to do that.
I would love that, though. That'd be
well,
so
I don't know if
great.
everyone's going to do that.
I know it's not backward.
Because it'd be a pretty baller move for her to just say, that's the story, that's it. I'm not selling any additional rights, whatever. I'm dying with it, and that's where it goes. That's cool. Will she do that? I don't know. Even if she does, will her kids or somebody else just say, well, we want to make a couple billion, so we're going to sell it? I don't know. But
She's still actively writing?
She's got a daughter.
But what I'm thinking is...
She's writing a ton of, under Robert Galbraith, she's writing a ton of, I forgot what the series is called. She's probably got like 10 to 15 other books published.
Oh
wow.
my
And
goodness,
they're like
she's
bestsellers. Like
cruising.
people love
Dang.
it.
Well, I would love to read some too.
Yeah.
But I guess I just feel like genuinely there are parts of the story that, to my mind, left some open ends.
Interesting.
And I could actually
Like
see,
what?
well, some of the things I've been talking about along the way of like family ties,
And wands.
yeah.
and Snape could still be Harry's dad.
What?
Legitimately,
I'm-
there's a possibility out there that it could
I'm
be.
just saying, and I like James Potter as much as
No, you don't.
I don't like him.
James
But
Potter's,
the point being, there is at least the possibility for stories like that. And so when I'm taking a shower, sometimes I'm thinking, you know what? Yeah, Snape and Lily could have had a little thing that never got exposed because James was always the jerk and never actually grew up, and there were some other reasons we never saw, and Snape is actually Harry's dad, and that leads to this whole other... Anyways, because I think
So-
themes along family, we still don't know why the Potters were such a big deal, and I still feel like there was just more to it. And I still wonder when
She
Harry's
wasted
memory of
it on
green...
scenery.
Was it...
Mm.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But was it all just Avada Kedavra, or was there some flu powder involved? Did he get moved?
Who are you talking about now?
Harry.
I can't.
Anyways, lots of
Wow.
possibilities. But with a story, with the world she set up, anything is possible, truly. And I'm glad she capped things like time travel. Well, somewhat capped them. You can never fully.
Not really. If you're just reading the books, you have no idea.
Or you mean watching the movies? Like you would have no idea that she closed that door.
I feel like John had to like explain it.
Yes, so we knew
Clearly to
almost like
us. So,
basically
like,
I felt like
didn't
John was
get
saying,
that.
"All right, Danny, stop thinking about time travel. That was the last
Yeah,
we're going to
yeah,
see of it."
Yeah.
Which was good because otherwise it's too
But
too
I'm just
broad.
saying you
Yeah.
wouldn't have gotten that.
You're right, not naturally. It would
No.
only be after 7 books looking back and saying, "Oh yeah, that was what that was." Okay, or in a second or third read maybe. But I do think that there's more thematically she could do. Even with Snape being the best Legilimens in the world, we didn't see enough of that. We didn't see that on display beyond just knowing that he was able to deceive Voldemort. And I think in order to make that story really like satisfying, there's another book out there in her mind, maybe only, or maybe only in mine, where more of Snape's
You're gonna write
Legilimine
it.
power is on display, and where there's more of a connection of why the prophecy was about Harry, and why the Potter line was so important, and
You're gonna be DB.
and where they came from.
Rowling.
Yeah.
That is very like Star Wars thinking of you, because in the
Yeah.
original trilogy
See?
you get a lot of
can't drop
you get a lot
It's-
of like
it's built in.
unanswered questions in the original trilogy. Like
Hmm.
what is actually going on here? What's the backstory? And then the prequels give you a little bit of that answer, and we won't even talk about the sequels because they're terrible. But yeah, how they end. We'll save that for like the wrap up podcast because she's written a ton of extra stuff.
And I'm so excited to look into all that too.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a
Oh,
lot of like,
gosh.
but it's not so much building out. It's not so much as like answering. I mean, she answers a ton of questions, but it's more so like she still confines it to the 7 books that she's like to the world that she's built. She's not like she's never really hinted at like, oh, there's like another
Right.
additional trilogy that's going to come out after this. It's going to answer even all more of your questions.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of great if that came out, but we don't really have anything like that at the moment. So maybe one of these days.
Maybe. Wait, how old is she?
Maybe mid 60s.
It's a little older than I thought.
Yeah, but you can
But-
write forever.
58. Sorry, Joe.
Okay. All right. Nice. That's good.
Yeah, you could.
You can. Like,
yeah.
it's not that.
True.
She very much seems like not like she's done with the series, but she like did a bunch of extra
But
stuff,
yes.
and she's like, I'm moving on to other stuff. She's like,
Yes.
this is a closed thing, and she's
Over
like,
it.
I'm moving up onto like, yeah. She's like, I made my fortune with this. Like the first billionaire author or something like that, I think.
It's
Wow.
crazy.
That's insane.
Absolutely
But like
crazy.
only a few. What's a few? But like years ago, they built this Universal
Yeah. It's
world,
Isn't it crazy that they
and
did
that
that
was years
after the movies?
That's
Yeah.
that's what I find. Oh, it was because of the movies. That's why I'm.
Well, yeah, but didn't it finish
But like
after the
everything,
movies
I
were
just
done?
find it like so crazy that
Yep.
Like
'Cause-
they already knew there was more to this because they're like, this world is too big. It's not going to die. There will be more. That's why, in theory, we're building this whole world at the peak of Harry Potter, and it's only downhill from here. No, they knew there was going to be more somehow, right? Isn't that why they were willing to invest so much at that time? Maybe.
Because, okay, so that is like another part of this whole thing too. It's not. This hasn't been like a cut and dry like thing that like they made this whole thing years after. They made all like Universal, the Harry Potter world years after the movies were really created. Like they were starting to make it. It was like basically built like the main stuff, but now it's huge now. Like with Hogsmeade and everything like that, and the Harry Potter experience, all these other stores and like places opening, because she like left a bunch of questions unanswered, but she built the world I think really really well that like you can jump into these things and you still want to know about all these different characters.
Oh yeah.
Because I think she built so many complex characters. Like you want to know about the
Yeah.
Marauders and want more stories about them. You want to know about like the founders and like their story, and that's why most fans just want like, you know, I'm excited for the HBO series, very excited for it to come out, but I just want more extra stories. I'm like, okay, I know about Harry Potter. I want like I want you to fill in the world now. I want like other storylines of this in the same world.
So true.
Did she kind of do that already?
A little bit, yeah. She's done that with certain things. She's done that with certain characters. She's written shorts on certain things.
Oh, she has. Okay.
Yeah, but nothing like book substantial that you fans are like.
Fantastic Beasts is not a book. It's just a movie.
It is the weird thing. Like I have Fantastic Beasts over there, but Fantastic Beasts is like Newt Scamander's guide to beasts and beings, or just
That
the beasts.
she wrote? No.
She did write it, but she wrote it like as Newt Scamander.
Oh.
But it's like
I don't even
it's like this
know.
guy,
What
Newt
is
Scamander, is like just like
character, or is
a
that-
fake character, or not a fake, like a character in the. Well, yeah, fake.
No, not fake.
They're all
He's real,
fake.
but
A character in Harry Potter that is like an author, and he was like a magizoologist. So the whole book is essentially like, this is what, you know, a alchemy is, and he gives like the explanation of it and gives like the description, and like they rate it on a scale of 1x to 5x for how dangerous the creature is, and that's the entire book. It's like an
So
encyclopedia.
it's not a story.
Not a story at all. She's written the Tales of Beedle the Bard as a story. That's 5 different stories. And then she's written Quidditch Through the Ages, which is great. They're super fun books, but there's not extra stuff. She's written extra stuff like on her
funny
website.
that it would be
all sorts of other
those
books.
and not like history
I know,
of certain
agreed.
characters.
Yeah,
Maybe it's just too much thinking.
yeah, maybe. I feel like she did a lot of this like extra thinking though. Like she's, but
I mean,
no,
yes, but
you're right though. So a lot of people talk about her too, and that's the fact that she did something called retconning, which is like you go back and like you kind of contradict previous like canon that's already been established. And so some people like they don't like her anymore because they say that she's kind of like messing up with her own storyline and canon just to like make things more appropriate, or like, you know, however.
What is she doing that's contradictory?
We'll talk about that in the next one. I don't think a lot of it is that significant, but I'm trying to think of like a blatant example of one that she's done. Yeah, there's a few that come to mind, but we'll kind of talk about them in the next one. There's been some stuff that she's this is like I don't want to get crazy controversial because she is the most controversial figure. Like people, there's a lot of podcasts just like cut her name out of it.
Why? She literally wrote it.
I know she literally wrote it, but people hate her for like her comments on modern things in the world going on right now. We won't even get into that because I don't really care that much about that. But there was a controversy even on our Discord. This we don't really have a controversy on our Discord all that much, but there was a little bit because we were talking about the HBO series, and they confirmed 2 things, which is kind of exciting. I don't know if they fully confirmed this one, but they said it's going to be 10 seasons And
Oh, wow.
that
Oh
it's
my
going to
dang.
be the writers of Succession, like the creators and producers of Succession, are the ones that are carrying this over. And I'm pumped about
I
that
don't know
because
what
that
that
show,
is.
people say that show
Very,
is
very
the
good
best
show.
written show like of all time. They say that show is like the writers, and the main writer, she is like an uber Harry Potter nerd. She loves
she
this
is.
stuff. So like people
That's
are
awesome.
That helps.
thrilled. And Joe has like kind of officially given her stamp of approval, saying like this is gonna like be very
Wow.
popular with book fans. She's like very excited about it.
Hmm.
And some people are like, oh, I don't care what she says anymore. But I'm like,
Ah,
I think she's still the
she
creator. I'm
literally
like, if
wrote
she
the
gives her
books.
approval, I'm like still very excited about it because she still
Mhm.
has like ownership of this.
Yeah.
It's different for someone like Harper Lee or Lee Harper. Sorry, no, yeah, Harper Lee.
Harper Lee, yeah.
Yeah, that like didn't have autonomy to like not publish her book anymore. Like she was dead and they published The Ghost at a Watchman, which was terrible. With this, it's like different. She's still like cognizant, and she still has like some control over this kind of stuff. So,
So, because she didn't sell the rights to
no. Well, I think Warner Brothers has some of the rights. I actually don't know with all the rights stuff. The rights stuff is weird. Warner Brothers has some of the rights. HBO has some of the rights. She has all the main rights, but
maybe she just signs off on it.
yeah.
Yeah, like with certain scope of the rights,
Yeah.
maybe to different people. That must get so complicated.
Yeah.
Good
I
thing
know.
she's rich and could pay all the lawyers.
Yeah,
No, exactly.
seriously. Dang.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah, so I'm excited about that series. That's why, like, even again going back to the movie, I think the movie is like there's lacking parts that I'm excited for it to flesh out. But I still kind of just wish they just went on to like other stuff. Like I'm like, we got the Harry Potter story in the movies, and we have the books. Like I'm excited for them to go into that, but I want them to go into like all sorts of
Like
other
another
side stories.
movie? Or are you talking about a book? Or are you talking about both?
I'm just like, just write another
anything.
like TV series on like there's tons that people are coming up
Oh,
with. Like,
you're saying like not recreate this better, but
No.
go off on.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Like I'm excited that they're going to recreate it better, but I'm more excited. Like Star Wars gets me excited because
But
they're not
maybe
recreating
they
the original Star
are
Wars.
going to in it.
Yeah. I think that's what
Like,
they're
add
hoping to
to
do.
it.
I think they're hoping to make
They
enough
can,
money that they can start producing these.
And then they can maybe just make the characters their own backstories a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they could be lining up in the 10 seasons a bunch of spin-off shows, or not even spin-offs, but just introduce characters or ideas to test the waters on things in case everyone wants an Ollivander show.
Yeah.
There you
or
go.
whatever else parts of the world.
Oh my gosh, the two of you talk about the one.
Like how fun of a show would that be? I would love that
Oh,
show.
gosh,
great.
I can't.
I feel like there could be a whole show just about Diagon Alley.
Yeah,
You know?
honestly, all the shop owners of Diagon Alley.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, it'd be great.
Did she approve of the movies? Give her blessing for them?
She's gonna be more involved in the series than the movies. She was involved in the movies, but I certain parts, I think she sold certain parts, so she really didn't have a lot of like the
Control or say?
control over it. Like she would, they valued, I think, her like stamp of approval on things, and she would give her stamp of approval, but I don't think she had like the power to say like, don't do this, include this. In it, you know?
Because I'm curious if she actually liked the movies or not.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why she's gonna be really involved in the series.
She's like,
Yeah,
I
I
want
know.
control.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I think overall, as a series of movies, it was pretty good. Like
Yeah.
it's very
Mhm.
entertaining.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Obviously, it did well enough that they made a amusement park.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
They did a lot of really good
And they
world
like
building.
kind of took it from the movies, though.
Yep.
All the sets.
They really did. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the alleyways, the whole thing.
Which
The
Mhm.
dragon on the.
Yeah.
It's literally
It's
like.
all the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was interesting.
It
Maybe
really-
they need a visual before.
I would
they
say, I
go.
feel like they probably, yeah.
Which I'm very curious what the
Replicate it.
HBO series is going to do. I think we talked about this before, but are they
Yeah.
going to just take the set? Are they going to just like film on location in Universal?
Oh
like,
wow.
Are they going to do that,
That's
or are they
funny.
going to build
Something
their
totally
own
new.
unique things? Yeah.
Because then if they make a new Diagon Alley that
Yeah.
the next generation is going to be into, then
Exactly.
what do they have to redo Universal to be for the next generation?
Yeah. Seriously.
Whoa.
I mean,
Dang.
it maybe wouldn't take too much tweaking, or maybe they leave it the way it is,
Just
but there are other things they
expand
do.
it.
Yeah.
So they probably
Yeah.
just make it bigger,
Series,
to be
this is
honest.
Movies.
Yeah.
And even the Hogwarts Express, it better be the same exact train. You know what I mean? It's like you can't
Really?
change some of it, or are they going to say, forget it, we need to change it all up? I
Yeah.
don't know.
I know it's gonna be fascinating for how they make some of those decisions.
Yeah.
HBO, if you need writers or if you need anybody, we're all for
No.
hire.
I don't want that pressure. There's gonna be so many
These guys
haters.
do.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like we'll come out with all the side stories for you guys. But again, that's even why some of this series is fun too, because the mass amount of fan fiction. I think probably for
Mm.
Harry Potter more than anything else, there's more fan fiction out there than any other story that I've ever seen.
Whoa.
For
Probably.
like how many
yeah.
people are writing like they take a character and they're like, I would love, you know, this and this about him. What was that?
It was a
A
leaf.
leaf.
Oh really?
But it
Yeah,
was
it's right down there.
a little weird.
I know, I thought that was like a bug.
Has any of the fan fiction gotten famous or like popular?
Yeah, there's a few of them. There's
Okay.
one called Mankled, I think it's called. And it is the book rewritten, I believe, from Hermione's perspective.
Which book?
Oh, I remember you
All of
saying
them?
I
that.
think like all of them.
Oh, wow.
Maybe.
Dang.
I might be wrong about that. But
whoa.
the weird
That's
thing,
a lot. Dang.
the tough thing about fan fiction is that you can't, obviously you can't publish any of it. So it like exists domain, or domain, whatever, free, I forgot what it's called. Public domain.
Mm.
And if you can buy a hardbound copy of Mankled, but
Mm.
it's not like a traditional way of buying it. I think you're like technically gifted it and you're like donating the money or something like that, because
Oh,
it's
because
all
it
about
has
rights,
to
because
be.
it
They
be-
can't make money off
Oh,
of it.
Yeah.
Also, interesting title
Weird.
too. I'll
Yeah,
get that.
for sure. Yeah, I've heard that one is great. I mean, we have
Okay.
Mankled?
oh no, Mankled is okay. So Lana knows more about Harry Potter fan fiction maybe than anybody. A few people in our group too. That's all they do, read Harry Potter fan fiction. Some of it they say is phenomenal, and some they say is trash. Mankled is a dark version if Voldemort had won the final battle.
Oh wow.
Oh, like
Ooh.
change it.
Dang.
So,
Wow.
Fiction indeed.
Yeah.
Wait.
I don't like that fiction.
We like fan nonfiction.
Yeah.
No, it's all great. That's
Yeah.
so cool.
Okay, so yeah, there's a 7-book rewrite from Neville's perspective at Hogwarts. It's
Oh.
pretty popular. There's a lot
That's
of like
cool.
super popular stuff that people are pumping out for fan fiction.
You've
Hmm.
read them?
But that's a
I
lot
read
of
a
effort.
few here and there, but some of them are too massive for me to read.
I feel like it's a lot of effort for
Yeah.
them to get
It's
no
about
money off
Harry
of it
Potter.
Yeah,
though. Like seriously. Like,
I know. It's a lot of effort to make no money, but these people. This is why Harry Potter is so unique. Is that these people are obsessed with
They're
it.
just
I know,
Speaking
but
of
like
a
how
lot
much
of
time do you
effort
have
to
to
make no
rewrite
money.
all 7 books
This
and
is
get no
Harry
money
Potter
out of it?
time readers.
I just can't understand that.
Yeah,
People are passionate. We're passionate.
I know. Seriously,
I know,
man.
but
I know.
writing 7 big books like that's a
Yeah.
lot.
I guess
Yeah.
that's different because no, John, you can write a book basically. Editing.
Yeah, I know. I
Yeah.
know
All
the
that
tools for that, but
It's a lot.
yeah.
You're
It definitely is a
editing.
lot. There's like fun again, but some of this, like I would like writing short stories for this because like some of it is
Yeah, that makes more sense
is
to me.
it's fun to like
And
go.
'cause-
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, and because of the podcast, you actually could get
Yeah, I
a
know,
following
yeah.
with your short stories.
Yeah, for
Hmm.
sure.
Yeah, true.
Sorry.
No.
Continue that thought.
Yeah.
Fans, we're gonna have short
Um,
stories
It's-
From John.
by
Oh no, I don't think. I like the idea.
He's contemplating it.
No.
He's like, I like videos.
If I did something
yeah.
like something that I think through is I just don't know the legality of some of this is like publishing like short stories on YouTube, but them as screenplays, and then like getting like an AI art generator and being like, hey, can you like draw an image of this, and like just typing in whatever the screenplay description is.
Right.
And, like give me a a storyboard image
Oh,
of
nice.
this.
Yeah.
And just like the YouTube video is the storyboard images, and it's
Mhm.
like
You're just
whoever's dialogue is
narrating
it. Yeah, you're just
Okay, okay.
narrating it. Or
That would
getting
be
like
really cool.
voice actors to narrate some of that stuff.
Hmm.
Like that'd be fun. I would like that. But and like there's different people that I think would be really like I would love doing like one on Neville and like his
Mm.
future story. I think there's some
Oh, yeah.
interesting
Hmm.
things.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, like, but yeah, some people are saying there's like audiobook fan fictions. I'm excited even for like the Harry Potter audiobook that they're gonna do of like all different character voices. Like that's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
They're coming out with one for that. So
That'll
Yeah,
be
that's
neat.
awesome.
Oh, like the audiobook has all different characters as opposed
Yeah.
to one person.
yeah,
Oh, cool.
so
Nice.
they're coming out with like some good stuff, but
Jim Dale did a Jim Dale.
yeah.
Yeah, he did a
He
good job.
sounded like three
I
all
know,
the
he
different-
did.
Yeah, he was
When you
everybody.
listen to it,
Yeah,
it's like
he's impressive. Yeah.
500 different characters. It's great.
That is pretty neat. It's just like never ending though. Like there's so many fans and so many different
Possibilities.
venues of like where you can whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
My words are not coming out.
I'm trying to think through the movie if there was anything else major and notable in there.
Yeah, that's why we got sidetracked.
Yeah, there's like good parts of the movie. There's not so great parts. Yeah, this whole movie is the end, or like the literally just one day essentially. It's them going to Gringotts, raiding Gringotts, and then it's them at Hogwarts.
It's one day?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I don't think I processed that.
Yeah, it's supposed to be one day. So they raid Gringotts, they get out. It's like super early morning, and then they jump into Gringotts, or they jump into Hogsmeade right after that, and they get like, almost caught.
The pacing of all that stuff felt so crazy.
Yeah.
Even Gringotts, it was a slow start, and then it all happened at once.
Yeah.
The little shot showing that was Griphook, right? He had died. Yep. And then just like giving you that, which I thought was an interesting touch in the movie. Yeah. But then a lot of the pacing things felt weird. And then because of the book preconception, the final battle, the waiting an hour, then in the forest, then coming back out, the locations and timing in that battle felt weird because I had little expectations that were being twisted or not met. And that's when I was like trying to just embrace the movie for what it was. But that was interesting.
There was even parts in the movie, like Neville's slicing of Nagini has no real meaning in the movies. It's just like Neville, you kind of like him as a character in the movies, and he slices, and you're like, oh, that's cool. It has way more significance in the books. And then even like you guys were mentioning how Harry doesn't, when he's going to the forest, how he doesn't really talk to Neville and like give him like, hey, you have to kill the snake. That's it. So Neville just slices the snake because he's just, there's a snake.
Like
slicing a snake.
Looks bad. Let me get him.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so that's pretty much all
true.
he does. So like that's a little bit out of it. But what do you guys think of the very end, the like epilogue, the 19 years later or whatever it was? Oh, actually, right before that too. What do you guys think of the wand snapping?
You picked up on it right away.
Yeah, because I was like, wait, no, he's not supposed to do that. And he was supposed to fix his wand first.
I know. That part is
but then I actually was like, wait, what did he do with the wand in the books? I literally...
He
fixed his own wand that needed fixing, right? Where did he put it?
Didn't he hide it somewhere, like the forest or something?
Yeah, so he puts it back in Dumbledore's grave.
Yeah.
So
that's okay.
He dropped the rock.
Yeah.
In the forest.
The rock dropped in the forest. They go up to Dumbledore's office.
Oh, yeah.
The headmaster's office. And they have a conversation with the portrait. And Harry talks about how he says that I dropped, the object in the snitch in the forest. I don't know where it is. And Dumbledore's like, great, that's perfect. In my head, I'm like, in the books, I'm like, okay, so someone accidentally stumbles across the Resurrection Stone in another series, Joe. Like,
right.
There you go.
Absolutely.
The same thing happens with the wand, where in the movies it's very close. Harry snaps the wand, and that's the end. Because like, okay, no one can take this wand again, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
But in the books, he takes the wand, and he rests it back with Dumbledore. I'm like,
so all three of these things are literally out there in the books. I forgot because then this was in my head, and I was thinking the snapping it was a good idea, but even that, it's like it was powerful enough that will it have any power once it's snapped, or is that just that's what they do when they expel you from school, so no power left? But like at least put it in a museum or do something, or I don't know. It just felt like throwing it off a bridge, maybe nice symbolism, but I was like, what are you doing? It just felt it didn't feel thorough to me.
Yeah, agreed.
And with objects this powerful, and he just told a portrait while all the portraits during the whole battle were running between portraits. Well, the fat lady overheard that. She loves to gossip. We already know.
Agreed,
she shared that with someone else who told someone else. Now everybody knows, if you ask the right person, that it's in the forest somewhere.
Yep.
And
but they're not going to need it. Everything is perfect.
Well, it's not about need though. It's about greed. And
Ooh.
at some point,
Okay.
somebody's going to want it because somebody's going to have a loss or experience death or be afraid of something. And they're going to be like, resurrection stone.
But not many people knew about the
True.
Deathly Hallows. It was kind of dying, I thought.
But enough people do know.
Yeah.
I actually didn't mind him breaking the wand.
That
I feel
feels
like it
more
was-
final than leaving
Yeah.
it in
I
his
feel like
grave.
for the movie it fit just because like
Yeah.
it's symbolic of his maturity of like I don't need this power.
Yes.
Like no one needs this. We're done.
And even Ron, didn't he like
Yeah.
react to it? He was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oh, whoa.
Yeah. I mean, it
Um,
was definitely extreme, but I feel like it was also good
yeah.
for him to do that.
Maybe it's just my own greed that I'm like, but the power,
I know.
Harry,
Yeah,
keep
I
it.
know.
So,
But someone else
yeah.
would just take it, and you'd have all these issues in the future. It's just never ending.
So true.
Honestly, I'm curious if she wrote it like that way in the books because maybe she was like, it was just, peaking in its popularity. No, maybe not peaking, but it was like growing so fast. She's like, maybe like I don't, have him break this because maybe I will write
Bring it
some
back.
kind of
Right.
sequel and bring
Yeah.
it back. Like someone finds, the Elder Wand, or like again, because if Harry has to live a long life, so like the crazy thing is, to me, Harry lays the Elder Wand down. And then he goes, and his profession after this is an Auror. Like, he goes and becomes an Auror. So the first person that disarms Harry is the rightful owner of the Elder Wand. And, like, you're never going to know this, really. Like,
Right.
There might be someone, like, 20 years down the line who's the
Right.
owner of the Elder Wand, and they have no idea. But the fact is that it still has owners.
Yep.
Like, no one's going to know.
True.
It's impossible to really trace that. But let's say someone digs up Dumbledore's grave because they learned that he had the Elder Wand at the end.
Mhm.
They dig it up and they're like, okay, who's maybe the most powerful wizard of the time right now that if I kill maybe that
I
is
know,
the rightful
that's
owner of
what
the
I
Elder
was
Wand
like.
and I'm the owner of the Elder Wand. So I'm like, did she write it that way so she can open up a whole can of worms after that? Same thing with the Resurrection Stone. He just drops it and you don't know where it is, and
Do you have to be using the Elder Wand when they get disarmed, or just because you have it in possession, it still counts?
Do you have to be using the Elder Wand for it to count?
Yeah, like if they disarm you
Yeah.
with it, like whereas if it's just
No,
like
'cause
stored somewhere.
Harry disarmed Draco. And he just
Okay.
took his wand, took Draco's wand, not
Yeah.
the Elder Wand, and Harry became the rightful owner of the Elder
True,
Wand.
true.
And
Okay.
people like Ollivander actually. Ooh, that's a dark one. Ollivander disarms Harry, hunts him down.
right?
But people like Ollivander actually studied this and tried to track where it was. And now what happened at the castle is part of history.
Mhm.
Like there will be books written on it. They will study that in school. It's not a secret. So it feels like, and even if it was, somebody could use occlumency. And it just feels like that's the kind of thing that somebody at some point would try and disarm Harry
Yeah.
to become the rightful owner. Even just for the sake of saying they were.
Yeah. Agreed.
This just reminded me of someone we were talking of, one of your friends, and they were saying they only watched Harry Potter series, and they said the whole thing seemed about trying to find this one item, and when they found the item, that was it. And I was like, wait, are they talking about now? I'm like, is
Yeah.
it that the whole time you're just trying to find the Elder Wand to be the most powerful,
Yeah.
and then when you find it, that's it. And that's what he got out of like the whole thing. He's like,
It sounds like he only
was
watched the
kinda-
last movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird because
Yeah.
I don't
That's
know.
interesting
That's actually
perspective.
interesting, yeah.
Hmm.
Because he's like, yeah, I don't find it that great. It was just like
Hmm.
all the search at the end was to find this thing. You find it and it's done. And I'm like actually, maybe that's how if you watched it only
Depending on how you watched it,
with your
Half
eyes open.
watching.
But see,
Half
I guess
watching?
the books just add so much more that you can see all the depth to it.
But I mean, I kind of see where that person's coming from though, because at the end it just seemed like whoever has the wand wins. Or
Yeah.
owns the wand wins.
But isn't that more just towards the end? That's the thing. That's
Yeah,
not from the beginning.
it feels like that was such an end thing, and it came up even later in the movies than
But
it did in the
that's how
book.
they defeated him. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah,
I
true.
think it's all about like defeating Voldemort. And how did you do that? Oh, it's the wand. I'm just bringing another perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a sense it is. Or his own pride defeated
Yeah.
him.
It is crazy because I mean, if you're watching the movie, I feel like that is a very viable way that you perceive it. He just all he has to do is get the wand, and he wins, and that's it. And that's like the movie.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know. That's just interesting. 'Cause they don't go deep in too many characters, so.
Yeah. Yep. Good thing they will in the show.
Exactly. What do you guys think of the epilogue, the 19 years later?
Oh yes.
Good. I don't like Ginny.
Oh, I know.
It was rough.
I thought it was good. It was just quick. It was like I like 19 years later or any amount of years later
Yeah.
because the conclusion. I feel
Yeah.
like I love being able to rest easy. Give me a bonus
Yeah.
ending because it subconsciously or indirectly answers a million questions you might have if it ended on the bridge there.
Mhm.
Yep.
And you know that ultimately
nice.
everyone ended up happy, and that's kind of how I want to, at the end I'm like,
Obviously.
everyone
happy.
quote
Yeah.
unquote.
Snape died.
So it's nice to see the long-term conclusion. But I don't think there was much to note beyond that. Basically just, hey,
It was just
Everyone
funny
is-
though, because no one looked their age. Maybe Harry matured. Everyone else looked the same or worse, like
Yeah.
too old or trying too hard.
Yeah.
Like Ginny,
Agreed.
she was
Ginny.
trying way too hard to
Yeah.
look older, and it was
Hmm.
terrible.
Blame that on the makeup
Yeah.
and hair.
yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
saying,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, I'm with you. I'm completely with
Yep.
I agree.
you. Except Ron. Ron looked great. Ron with his little
Yep,
beer
yep.
belly.
Yeah.
And his
Yeah.
bags
Oh, that's
under
true.
his
I actually was
eyes.
not as offended
and
as you were.
Harry.
I'm like, they all look great to me. Oh, this is.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just didn't, they didn't.
Yeah, I'm with
I
you.
think Harry acted whatever. That doesn't matter.
It was.
Their names are just so ridiculous.
Yeah, the names.
Albus,
Yeah.
Severus.
I know. A little rough.
Potter.
Hmm.
Poor kid.
I feel like she just gave up. She's like, whatever.
Yeah.
Overnaming
sorry.
characters.
Yeah, she did a really great job.
I know.
She's like,
By the
done.
end, just
Yeah.
done. Yeah.
Just let me throw two important character names in there for Harry. Yeah, that's a funny one. There's lots of controversy over Harry naming his characters or Harry naming his kids and what people think they should have named.
What do they think you should have named them?
Like Sirius would have been a better option for a lot of fans.
Oh.
Fred would have been a better option for a lot of them.
Hmm.
Like Ginny didn't really get a say at all, so you're like, Harry's just sitting there. I'm gonna name my kid Albus.
Yeah, that would have
Severus,"
been
and
good because
Ginny's
then it
like,
was after her brother too. If they did Fred,
Yeah,
it's like, or
right.
at least as a middle name or something.
Yeah.
That would have been
so
nice.
True.
Oh, yeah. That is weird.
Hmm.
And what was the other one?
Serious.
It was James.
What are the actual
Oh, the
names?
actual
I
ones, I
wonder.
don't know.
I forgot. Do you remember?
No.
I remember Albus Severus. And
That's
then
a rough one.
Lily, right?
Lily Rose, yeah.
Rose.
What's the
and
rose
two,
after?
And two flowers.
James. Oh yeah, it's James Sirius Potter. So there you go. So the first
Oh.
one's
Oh, okay,
Sirius.
nice.
And then Lily. Oh no, Lily Luna Potter.
Oh, Luna.
Lily
Rose.
Luna.
Is,
Luna.
Rose is Ron and Hermione's kid.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Lily Luna? Luna
Yeah.
got a. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. It's and then
Did she die?
Hugo Weasley
No.
and Rose Weasley.
Wait,
Those
what
are just
was it?
random names. I feel like, right?
Hugo,
Is
right?
there meaning behind that?
There
Hugo
was
Weas-
meaning behind it.
Hugo. I was like, who is Hugo though?
Maybe it's a relative of JK.
Maybe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because the names and naming all of them in such a whirlwind, I feel like none of the names matter that much. But then,
Names
I
matter,
guess-
Danny. Don't you know this?
yeah, I guess. But it feels funny in like to
have
introduce characters
meaning.
like that.
They do.
They don't. Again, feels like setting up for another trilogy.
Yeah,
like,
right?
you know, like why give them such specific names? A character or two maybe, but to be listing off like 6, 7, 8
I
kids'
feel like
names
just like a
feels
middle
funny.
name, and then
Yeah.
the main name could be whatever. The middle
Yeah,
name can be
yeah,
an
yeah.
after
Yeah.
someone. I like that.
Yeah.
But I do think
They
the movies
wanted
did
us
it
to
well.
Talk about it.
Yeah, fair.
Do you guys want, now that you're kind of completely done with the series, do you want one small little tidbit from what the play is about? Or do you want to go into the play blind?
Let's hear it.
I'm
Ask
ready.
Danny because he's in my ears.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. So, I don't know a ton about the play. I really know two main things about the play.
Wait, so you haven't seen it?
No.
Oh,
So I haven't
wow.
seen the play either, yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
Some of my friends
Okay.
have seen it and they say like the practical effects are incredible. They love it so much, but they have problems with the stories. Most people have problems with the stories. But the one, like this is like a more common one. In the end, in 19 years later, Harry's kid is afraid that he's going to be sorted into Slytherin, and then Harry's like, oh, don't worry, like it'll take your choice into account. Play Harry's kid is sorted into Slytherin, and he resents his dad. Ends up hating his dad.
Oh
his dad is
my!
Like this, everyone knows his dad, and everyone loves his dad, and like Harry gave the invisibility cloak to
Cursed child.
His oldest child, and like he feels like the neglected one. Albus Severus feels like the neglected child. So that's part of it. Another part of it, which is wild, is that Dumbledore has a child. Or no, not Dumbledore. Voldemort has a child with Bellatrix Lestrange.
Ooh.
Oh, shoot. We
should have
that.
seen that coming, though. That's
What
not that shocking.
Hold that a little bit, yeah. There was a little bit of energy going on between them. They have a
The
child.
energy was there.
Yeah.
But when was the pregnancy? Or can you do magical
Great
C-sections?
question.
Because what
What does this child look like?
Yeah, but she could have had it way back when.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We don't know the age of the child, but it
We'll
does
find out.
feel funny.
That poor child,
I
man.
know, yeah. So
That seemed-
part of it is about that too.
That
but then
is-
does that? Oh, because it's just like let's recreate another evil.
Is it part of the same play or it's two separate?
I know it's the same.
Okay,
same
okay.
play.
Okay.
It's just-
Does that kid live on forever?
Oh God.
No. It also is kind of a
No,
Horcrux for his father.
Oh,
I know.
yikes.
That's why I'm like, what the?
Yeah,
An
so
the
it's-
unknown
cursed
Horcrux.
child.
We'll figure it out when we go see the play.
Wow.
I know, but I have my theories.
I know.
I feel like any of those things, if explained correctly, could work. But hearing them just like
Yeah, right.
blatantly
Yeah.
feels intense. But
Yeah.
maybe it's a little out of context. I'll wait till the play explains it and see if it feels a little better. But it's interesting.
Very interesting.
So who won the movies as far as like acting? What was your favorite? Who's your favorite part?
Snape.
Yeah, I guess that has to be Snape.
Yeah. I think Rickman did pretty good.
I like
Yeah.
Luna too.
Oh yeah.
Luna was great
was
every
good.
time.
Luna has that really creepy line that I love in the beginning of it, where she's like looking at the little wind chime or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and she says, "Muggles think this keeps away evil. They're wrong."
That's so good.
Okay.
Oh,
I
boy.
love whoever played her did such
That's
a good
impressive
job.
though to act
Yep.
like that. I feel like that'd be
Yeah,
so tough.
Agreed. Yeah, her actress is Luna essentially. She's great.
I feel like Ron did such a good job through and through. He was just
Yeah.
always so funny. I wish Hagrid got a little more screen time in the final movie.
Yeah, agreed.
I feel like
Oh yeah.
That's true.
he was not much of a character towards the end of the movies in general. And then in the final movie, he was just there for a few minutes. But
Yeah, it's a great point.
Yeah, it's true.
but he was always so comforting, and the last movies are not that comforting. And he comes in to comfort us a little and carry Harry, and that's all right.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think of
Could've done
other
that scene a
standout
little better.
acting.
Like more emotion.
Aberforth was pretty good. Aberforth was very minimal in it.
Yeah.
I love Molly Weasley. Molly Weasley's fight against Bellatrix.
Oh,
That was
she
great.
used the same line,
Yeah, use the same line,
Yep.
which is lovely.
which is lovely. She got PG-13.
Yeah.
I feel like McGonagall. She was pretty good.
Yeah, she did good
Oh
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. For sure.
There's like
Oh,
there's
yeah.
like subtle things in the movies as well that I do love. Like there's one part where when McGonagall and Snape are dueling, when Snape like disappears and like is supposed to look like a bat, he knocks out Amicus and Electo.
I know. I saw
So,
that on
like, he's
a
protecting the
on
students still. On, like, a-
social
yeah,
media.
yeah.
It's like slowed down, and
Mhm.
and he does.
Yep, and he like takes them both
behind him.
out, which is kind of cool.
That is kind of cool.
That was cool.
So like they put like cool little hints in the movies that you kind of like realize and kind of like. But I think Snape kind of won it for me. I think Snape did really good. Alan Rickman.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Did you guys have a favorite part of this movie?
I think they did a good job with the Gringotts scene.
Yeah, honestly,
Like
that
that.
whole thing was
Yeah.
pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that's out, and then just a lot of the fighting on the steps, back and forth about the Malfoy's moments of like in the movie, I was curious how they were going to portray things, how the Malfoys were going to look. Is Draco going to stay on the good side in the battle, stuff like that. So those moments kind of stood out to me. Yeah, Mrs. Malfoy whispering to Harry and saying he was dead. Trying to think of other good moments. I feel like those are all the ones that stood out the most.
Mm-hmm.
It was all a blur. It was all a blur.
It was all a blur, yeah.
I know.
Who's your guys' hot tamale?
Yeah, I like Mrs. Weasley.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's great.
I feel like Molly Tamale, she gets it.
It works.
Nice. It would have been Ginny, but
In the movie, she's
personality
just
in the
not doing it.
Yeah.
I hope they portray her better.
I know. That is gonna be the fun part of the series. That like you hope they portray the characters better than how they did in the movies. So I'm
Especially
excited for that
Dumbledore
part.
too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, agreed. Oh, man. We'll see. Anyway, thanks for joining us on our journey of Harry Potter and the First Time Readers. Bye.
Whoa.
Bye, guys.
Crazy.
I know.
Dang. 2 years later.
I know. Crazy.
Wait, what? It is.
Because it's
It really is,
July,
like,
right?
2
Yeah.
years later, July.
It's July to July.
That's wild.
That is so wild.
Wow,
It is
our
crazy.
whole relationship.
Really, legitimately. Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Congrats, guys. 2 years.
Second anniversary. Woo.
15.
So close.
July 15th, you said?
First date.
July
Nice.
15th? Okay. We're almost there, like 2
That's
weeks away.
crazy.
We'll count
We'll
it.
record one more episode then.
Yeah.
I was 2 weeks into it too.
It was, yeah. Yep.
Oh, wait, so you hadn't gone on a date yet once you started. That was after you started.
Exactly.
Uh,
A couple
Oh,
episodes in.
no.
Yeah.
I was like, John, I did something
I know,
dangerous.
yeah. I remember you came up to me, I was like, all right. Well, I got that good work.
It was risky, but it worked out.
Yeah.
Yep.
I did something dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forget how I said it, but it was something pretty close to
Yeah,
that.
it was,
So you let John know before you asked her out.
No, it was
No.
after, like, I don't
Yeah,
remember
I'll
if we
get
had just
permission.
gone on,
Okay.
like, we might have just gone on a date, or maybe it was
I
before
think
we
it
went
was
on
like
the
you had
date.
maybe 1 or 2 dates.
Yeah, it was like pretty early on, but I was like, because I knew that if it was just 1 or 2 dates, we could be like, oh, it didn't work out, you know,
Yeah.
it
It's
just never
fine.
happened.
Yeah, true. True.
Yeah, just obliviate and on
Yeah.
we go. But
Just kidding.
I think it was enough that I was like, oh, it was like time where then it's coming back to me. Then I said, all right, well now after a third or however many dates it was at that point, I'm like, well, this is where it starts to get a little more dicey. It's harder to go back to normal
Yes.
and pretend
Yeah,
nothing
the
happened.
farther
So,
in you get, yeah.
yeah.
I'm glad it lasted 2 years.
Nothing happened.
Yep. We risked it for the biscuit.
Worked out perfect.
So weird.